All right. We refer to the Torah as Torah Chaim, and we went in length yesterday explaining the whole inyan of whole issue of through the Kohen and so on and so forth, the lack of ability of the Kohen to be metameh and so on, and then really how it has to do with us. So I want to expand a little bit more on that. So the Torah Chaim, Chaim means life. However, the Torah is also eternal. I mean, the Torah is going to exist, way after we're all going to be out of this place. And it existed way before. We were all here. And even though we don't have Bet HaMikdash today, and together with it all the practices of the Kohanim in terms of Achilat Truma, Kodashim, and Korbanot, and so on and so forth, and the practice of the Kohen in Beit HaMikdash, even so, the Kohanim are obligated to keep the laws of Tumah and Tahara, of purity and impurity, just as much as they did over there. Of course, there are certain things that we cannot do, and purify yourself with the ashes of the red heifer and so on, but they are still obligated to do so, and they can be metameh to themselves, they can add Tumah themselves. Certain places the Kohen is not allowed to go. Of course, everybody knows cemetery, etc., etc., etc. However, there are places like, for example, a Kohen, which raises halachic issues, if a Kohen could lechatchila become a doctor. Because the Kohen deals with cadavers, the Kohen deals with dead people, and in the hospital there are dead people, and when they open the morgue, the doors of the morgue, the tumah goes out and so on and so forth. So the question is if the Kohen is allowed to do so lechatchila. There are many poskim that say, well, no, a Kohen should not do this. He's a Kohen. Of course, in today's day and age, on the altar of science and saving people's life and so on and so blah blah blah, we throw away everything that is dear to us, and that's why we're in such a poor state of affairs that we're holding right now. A Kohen is a Kohen. There's so many other doctors, people that could become doctors. Davka the Kohen. I had a Talmid one time, and I discussed it to him when, in length. He was extremely smart. He could have gone to law school, and he could have gone to medical school, and he scored extremely high on both fields without even practicing. He just one of those genius people. And he said to me at a certain point, I don't want to be a lawyer because it would be involved in lying, liars for hire. And I don't want to be, and so he doesn't want to do that. So he didn't go to, he could have gone literally to any school. And he said, then he thought about it. He said, I don't want to be a doctor because it's my kehuna. Even though we are kehuna chazaka and so on and so forth, my kehuna is more important to me than the title doctor. I could, and today he has a PhD and is doing research and going all over the world. And you know what? More power to him. He didn't sell something that was dear to him, something that was important to him. He didn't sell it for pennies or for titles. And you should look for it yourself. What is important to you? Do you have any kind of set of values in which are important to you? And when or what are you willing to do to keep or to give away your values? Is there anything that you believe in besides, what I call prostituting yourself for money or titles? And that's what we all do. We all do that. If you don't have, first of all, a core of values, you're doomed to do very crazy things that you're going to question yourself. What is important to you? And what's the price tag for that? Is there a price tag for that? And you really need to think about it. Unfortunately, it's not being portrayed to you today. Today, if comes a bacher and says, I want to be a brain surgeon, okay? I don't know, but let's say I want to be a brain surgeon. Go ahead, more power to you. If it comes a bacher and says, I want to be a kli kodesh, I want to be a holy vessel. I want to kli kodesh. I want to learn Torah. I don't want to be a mooch. I want to learn Torah because I have this burning in my marrow that I want to learn Torah. I want to be a holy vessel. I want to be involved myself in in Torah. People say, "My shtagata, you're gonna be a mooch, you're gonna be a leech, you're gonna be a burden on society." Blah 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 blah. Whole entire thing. Look at how distorted our view is. Do you have any core values? Do you have anything that is important to you? That he says, you know what, that's because I don't think you even were encouraged in your life to do such a thing. Because most likely the people who you interacted with, they themselves don't have it, and they don't want to challenge themselves or challenge their lack of values by giving you any set of values. Right? How's that for a morning stroll in the park? Hey, we haven't seen you in a long time. So the question is, are those tales, those halachot still are in place? Of course they are in place. I mean, not only that, there's a great halachic discussion, which is adjusted to today's day and age. For example, there's a Kohen can fly, with a plane that goes over a cemetery or a Jewish cemetery. And there are plenty of cemeteries like this in Europe, mainly in Europe. And there are places that we know for sure that there are cemeteries there, and what does the Kohen do about it? And it's a halachic question. Can I do it? Can I not do it? How can I do it? The whole, it's a whole thing. So we are very much into it today. The question is why? Is it something that we just obsessed on, or there's something more? Of course, there's something more to it. However, this issue, this sugiyah, is not only preserved to Kohanim, it applies to each and every one of us as well, as I just showed you. But even more so, we need to understand the issues of Tumah and Tahara. The Torah always, when it speaks, even on particular examples, it always uses that particular example to speak on the klal, on the general. Right? Like one of the 13 midot of Rabbi Ishmael. Klalu pratu, klalu, right? And so on and so forth. Even when we have an individual example, it doesn't come to teach something unique to itself. It comes something to teach on the whole entire klal, on the whole entire group. And what is it that we learn from this? So therefore, what is the Torah? What is the Tu'am, that the Torah is warning us, and how does it really connect to what we do with our life, to our avodah? Because in a way, we are involved in a certain, what we call avodat Hashem. The Kohen has a certain avodah. We have avodah as well. On the Pirush of the Zohar of Baal HaSulam, he explains, Baal HaSulam explains the concept of what we spoke in length about it yesterday, that you should be to me, as it said in Sefer Shemot, Mamlechet Kohanim veGoy Kadosh, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Mamlechet Kohanim. So therefore, every time you see the Kohen, hey, I'm a Kohen also, on a different scale, right? But I'm a Kohen as well. Mamlechet Kohanim, we are a kingdom of priests. And what does it mean to us? Vegoy Kadosh, and a holy nation. By saying those words and with the whole content of this statement, it includes not only the avodah of the Kohanim in Beit HaMikdash, it includes our avodah, our worshipping, and the way we practice HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in a way, or could we say the whole Torah and the mitzvot. It includes it, involves everything, which is going to be to all of us. V'tiyuli, and you should be to me, what? Mamlechet Kohanim veGoy Kadosh. You're going to be Mamlechet Kohanim, a kingdom of priests. It should really say it. It should really say Goy Kadosh u'Mamlechet Kohanim. But it's not. It says Mamlechet Kohanim. First you have to act like priests, and then you're going to be Kadosh, a holy nation. So therefore the Kedusha, in a way, has something to do with the way the Kohen interacts with, it's a byproduct of the way you act. It's not something you are born into, especially to us. So therefore, as much as the Kohanim don't have any kind of, what the Kohanim when they come in the land of Israel, when they have the division of properties and so on, and family properties, the Kohen does not have a deed on any part of the land of Israel. Elo nachala. It doesn't have inheritance. No, it's inheritance. No, inheritance you can give to your son. Inheritance in terms you don't own a piece of land. It's not yours, right? And he doesn't, in a way, does not have any kind of a physical connection to this earth. I mean, he doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, what symbolizes the earth? Artziyut. Artziyut means earthy. You own a piece of land, right? I mean, in a way, when we use the word to somebody, peasant, it's like it's a degrading thing, right? Peasant. What do you do? Work with the land a little? But it represents something. The Kohen does not have anything to do with it. He doesn't own a land. He has a house. I mean, we give him properties in Ir Miklat and saying, but it's not his. We lease it to him. He doesn't own that land. And in a way, it tells us here, from a small child to an old person, you should also be like priest. In other words, as much as the Kohanim don't have any earthly connection to like materialistic things. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is their inheritance, right? Ani nachalatam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. So is therefore the whole entire nation should be established and organized as a general for nothing but maintaining mitzvot Hashem and establishing and doing mitzvot Hashem. The core of the nation, of the Jewish nation, and that's, by the way, what differentiates us from the Goyim is asiyat mitzvot, doing the mitzvot. If that's what defines me different than a Goy, by the fact that I'm doing the mitzvot, therefore a Jew that does not keep the mitzvot, well, you can fill up the gap, fill up the blanks here. Yes, halachically, if his mother was a Jew, he is born a Jew, but defining himself as a Jew, he is not. And yes, I have a greater claim than him because I'm doing what a Jew is supposed to be doing, and he is not. And God forbid you say to anybody who's doing kiruv, kulanu, or Lubavitch, somebody like that, or conservative to that matter. God forbid, but I don't care. Here, I'm saying it. Nothing happens to me. It's fine. I can say whatever I want. It's a free country, isn't it? Who was it that freed the slave? Robert E. Lee. Who was it? Yeah. No, it was right? We're free. We can say whatever we want. We have a constitution. We can say what I want. And by the way, I'm obligated by the Torah to say it. In Israel today, they like to say the conservatives and reforms are they're not. I mean, some of them, not all of them, some of them are halachically Jews because they were born to a Jewish mother, even though the numbers are declining. However, practically, what defines them as a Jew? They're not doing the mitzvot. By the way, conservatism, reform, the Reconstructionists, and so on and so forth is as much Judaism as Christianity is. Okay, so don't fall into this trap and don't be apologetic. You don't need to apologize for somebody else's wrongdoing. Okay? You could be nice, but you shouldn't be a wimp. And don't apologize for somebody else's wrongdoing. Remember that. Apologize for what you have done wrong, but not what somebody else is doing wrong. That's their problem. So Am Yisrael, because anyway, what defines us as a nation is doing the mitzvot. When we don't do the mitzvot, when we don't keep Shabbat, when we don't keep tzniut, when we don't keep all the other things that we are commanded, and especially when it comes to the pillar of emunah, like taharat hamishpacha, modesty, kashrut, Shabbat. So why are you a Jew? What makes you into a Jew? I don't know. Okay? So therefore, we need to, by doing so, there is a need, and we need to fulfill this need for everybody to learn Torah, to keep mitzvot, and this is our obligation. That's what we need to do. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you worry about that. This is your portion. I gave it to you. In other words, that if you use the word Kohen, if you substitute the word Kohen, it really would be a word for a person who influences and teaches or mentors, because the Kohanim at the time were the teachers. There are those who learn Torah, and as the Rambam brings, the Shevet Levi, that's what they used to do. Shevet Levi, the Levites, and the same thing. They don't have any property, they don't have anything, so they can sit down and learn Torah all day long. They were the teachers. The Rambam says, and it's not only Shevet Levi, anybody who wants to be, that has any man, Kol Adam, his heart desires, could be like a Shevet Levi. Make Hashem your Nachala. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, and again, you should not apologize for the fact that you want to be a scholar, a Torah scholar. You want to live, you want to be a teacher, you want to teach your students. There's not should be a problem. And we all became apologetic on the fact, if I want to sit down and learn Torah, I need to apologize. Well, it's only going to be for 2 years, I'm going to go get a job, and all this shidduchim garbage is the same thing. I want a learner and an earner. What kind of thing is this? You want a guy who is not serious. You want a guy who is serious about learning. Serious, is willing to live in a one-bedroom apartment just so he can learn Torah and to do what he needs to do in the world. If he cannot do that, how do you want him? It's a paradox, right? If you don't want this guy to do what you worship or what you deserve to be done to as a lady, right? You don't want, the Torah tells you, or tells the man, that he's obligated to treat his wife X, Y, Z, and so on and so forth, right? Well, how are you supposed to do that when he's not serious about the Torah himself? Why do you think that he could be serious about treating you according to the way the Torah wants if he's not serious about the Torah? It's a paradox. If he's not serious, he's not serious, period. The only thing most people are serious about is wasting their time. They're very serious about that. But it's an oxymoron. I should treat you according to the way the Torah says, but I should not learn Torah. I should not be serious about learning Torah. It doesn't make sense to me. And this is all poison that we were poisoned throughout years of what we call enlightenment and Zionism and this whole entire thing, that we need to apologize on the fact that this is an old world and it's a new Jew. No, it's not the new Jew, it's the same Jew, and so on and so forth. We are Jews, that's it. There's no new Jew, old Jew. What's the neoconservatism? No, what is the shtuyot haele? Nonsense. This is poison inside of you. You need to take this out of your head. And you shouldn't be apologetic for looking like a Jew and get haircuts like a Jew and dress up like a Jew. You don't need to look like a goy. Plenty of goyim. Let them. Do you see any goy trying to dress up like a Jew? Oh, why should I be dressing up like them? Right? That's why you should wear a tzitzit at all times. All times. Even at night you should wear a tzitzit. Yes, you may be not fulfilling mitzvah tzitzit if you're wearing it at night, but you are maybe fulfilling something else when you wear tzitzit at night, and that will be bechukotehem lo telechu, because when I take the tzitzit out, in a way I'm taking away from the mitzvah for me. I wear my tzitzit all the time. If I go home and I'm cooking or I'm doing something and I take my, I don't want it to get dirty, right? Fine. When I'm done, I put the tzitzit back on, even if it's 8 o'clock at night and I'm coming to Yeshiva to learn. The tzitzit on me is all the time. I don't step out of my house without the tzitzit on. For me, it's not just a mitzvah. It's a way of life. That's a part of me. I don't want it to be a minute that I'm throwing the mitzvot behind me. I don't want it. Do I need a guard? Yes, I need a guard. Am I perfect? No, I'm not perfect. That's why I'm going to do whatever I can to maintain that. So I would not forget ever that I'm a Jew. And there's, again, nothing to be apologetic about. You don't need to look cool. You don't need to do this, because the more you try, the less you are. You want to be cool? Look at me. I'm cool. I'm cooler than all of you. Am I? See, he agrees with me. So you got to remember that. You got to remember this. And the tikkun, the what we call the overall The problem with the world is that we only have a need to receive. We don't want to give anything. Our society is a very selfish society. And the more we go into the world of technology, we less than want to give. Because in the olden days, you will barter. You understand that he is important because arguments are he's raising bees and I want honey. And I want to make my life a little sweeter, so I use his honey. And he's making, I don't know what, whatever he's making. He's raising cattle and I'm making cheese. And we all need each other. So I'm willing to give you so you can give me and I'm giving you to, and so on and so forth. Today we don't need that. And the more we do this, the more, what have you done for me lately? Right? This is what we are. What have you done for me lately? And the tikkun, the overall fixing up of humanity, is taking this need of the willing to receive, this egoism, in order to, in which we all become very egoistic. We all self-centered. We only think about ourselves. Even when you come to yeshiva, where you're supposed to live in Yetzer Hara, did you ever ask yourself, what could I do to help my yeshiva? The yeshiva is giving me everything. It's giving me life. It's giving me Torah. It's changing me from a bomb to a beam. I'm a different person now. What can I give back? You ever ask yourself? That's the whole concept of Kabed Avicha V'et Imecha. That's the least you can do to your parents. The least is to respect them. The least. And yet we have a problem with that. We always want to get. We don't want to give. And that's the problem. Each and every one of us has what we call internally the Bechina of Kohen. Inside of us, we all have this little molecule that's called a Kohen. And that point is called Nekudat HaNeshama. That's where the Neshama comes. In that point inside of us, that's called the Kohen, that's the Neshama, the chip of the Neshama falls in. And what is that? That's the will to do good, to help other people, to influence positive, in a positive manner, to be able to influence, to help, to influence through doing Avodat Hashem, through action. And when the Torah talks about the Kohen, it's not just talking about a person himself. It talks about that movement of that point inside of us, that point of the neshama that moves inside of us. This is a Kabbalistic aspect on that concept. But the parasha warns us that if we live in the world of so-called nature, and nature is all about, quote-unquote, about survival, right? Survival is all about what I could get and not what I can give, because I'm not giving you anything because I'm going to be lacking that, right? And so any person who wants to purify himself, to cleanse himself, and I'm not talking about your body, I'm talking about your neshama, cleanse himself spiritually, and to be able to reach a level of hashpa'ah, of influencing. That's why you take a bachur. He's very talented, learns a lot, and so on and so on. He wants to become a rabbi. So, Habibi, you're not ready. You need to be able to fill your cup first. Well, I'm ready. Look at this. You're right, but you don't have enough to overflow and to share. Lehashpia, you need to be able to overflow, right? So let's say I have. Look how much coffee. Let's say I have this much coffee in the cup, but can I overflow it? I can't. That cup needs to be full. Talking about coffee, 1 second, my throat is dry. You need to reach a level of saturation and overflowing, like the Havdalah candle. You look at the Havdalah candle, you fill it up, right? You fill it up, fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. Right? I can explain to you in physics why it happens, right? It goes up and then it kind of domes on top. And you say, my goodness, I'm looking, there's like so much, and it domes on top. And it's not pouring, and then all of a sudden I have this like extra drop, and all of a sudden the whole thing overflows. That's how we are. You need to be able to reach this level of hashpah, of overflowing, of wanting to give. Because if you start giving when your cup is not full, what you'll be doing is taking from others instead of giving to others. And what you were doing so is depleting others instead of enriching others. That's why you have to know your place. You have to know who you are. And that's why we have the whole issue of only when the Talmid can, as well in the Gemara, Talmid cannot teach, say halachot in the ways of in the place of his rabbi, and so on and so forth, blah blah blah. You have to get permission, and on and on and on. However, a person that wants to be mashpia needs to keep himself very carefully from what we call tumat met. And tumat met is to remove yourself from any selfish movement to receive, only to receive. And as much as like there is in anything, there's anything, everything has a level, so tum'ah, impurity, has different levels, where the peak of the tum'ah is, of course, tumat met. And tum'ah, tameh, is the same letters of atum. Atum means concealed, sealed, not willing, right? It's closed from within. And the places, the most tameh person, the most tameh place is the place where the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the light of the Torah cannot enter in. Then it becomes the most tameh. Why? And that's the place of the willing to give makes you very condensed, very, doesn't allow the room for, because I want to receive so much, it doesn't allow the light to come in, right? It's like the mess. It's like a black hole. Okay, let's explain it this way. That place, the black hole within us, that only receives, and nothing comes out of it. That's the black hole within each and every one of us. That affects the outer light that we all have. There's a black hole inside of you that sucks in everything and doesn't let anything out. That's selfishness inside of us, and that's why a Rasha in his life, while he is alive, is called met. As the Gemara says, the Gemara in Masechet Brachot says, Rashaim b'chayeim nikraim metim. Why? Because they only receive. It's a black hole. It's a dead planet. Et tzaddik b'moto nikra chai. Not that the tzaddik is alive. However, the person that even after he's gone, he's still giving. That's what it means, chai. Chai means the ability to give. Mekor mayim chayim. What's mekor mayim chayim? We're not breastfed, but what's mekor mayim? A source of life water, a bubbling brook that always overflowing. That would be pure, will have the ability, mayan, a bubbling brook, has the ability to purify you even without 40 seah. But once you cut the water from its living source, it needs to have 40 seah. Only that it can purify you. But Ma'ayan is why? Because it gives and it gives and it gives and it gives. And the tum'ah that there is on the object needs this overflowing giving to do so. And why we put the things in the mikveh in water? Because water is chesed. And chesed is what? Chesed is not about getting. Chesed is about giving. Kindness. Din is constricting. Chesed is giving. Chesed, tzedakah, chesed, take. That's water. So, but when the water is disconnected from its source, it needs to be in a certain amount, and the water is not going to go down, because then it's not going to be able to pure. That's the secret of the mikveh. That's why a brook, a bubbling brook, could be metaher, even if there's no 40 seah. As long as it's covered, the whole entire thing, it's covered, it goes, it will be metaher. You understand? That's why you understand now. When we have certain tum'ot on a person, that's why they have to go into the mikveh. That's why they have to, because the tameh is a certain death process. When a woman has nidah, right? When she's menstruating, she has a period. What does it mean biologically? That the egg, the potential or life within her, did not materialize. So the egg, which symbolizes life, is going down from the body. The blood is pushing the egg out of the body. So it's a form of quote-unquote death. And that we need to purify. So you go to the mikveh. And a metzorah, and a zav, and so on and so forth. We always have to have the water, because it symbolizes that chesed, kindness, the willingness to give. And we need to remember that. So when the Shama, right, if you look at it this way, so if you look if you look the word of Rasha, the word Rasha, Re Shin Ayin, if you look at it, it's a notricon, it's initials for Ratzon Shel Atzmo, your own self-will, selfishness. Selfish people could be looked as Rashaim. You don't want to give. Why don't you want to give? Rasha. So when the neshama, which the koach that is mashpia, that is able to influence, goes out from the body, right? Therefore, there's only the need to give, which is the body. I mean, the need to get, which is the body. The body always, what do you do to the body? You always feed it, you take care of the body, you wash it, you eat it, you condition it. And the body is always giving, tenly, give me. So when the neshama, the willingness, when you want to give something, it comes from the neshama. The neshama goes out, it's only the willingness to give, right? Give me. No, I should give you. Give me. That's why it's tumah. That's why it's tameh met. You understand? So when that comes out, that's the ultimate level, the highest level of impurity, of tum'ah. The ultimate need to receive, not to give. That's the highest level of tum'ah. That's why they say, what Chazal tells us, Soneh matanot, yichyeh. What does it mean, soneh? He who hates gift should live. What is it? It's a zgula for echut chaim. No! When you want gifts all the time, give me gifts. I want gifts. Give me something. No, what do you give to me? What are you giving to me? What are you giving to me? Buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, buy me that. You are removing the life away from you. Because that's the need to receive. Give me. Soneh matanot, yichyeh. I don't need gifts. Baruch Hashem. Yesh li chaim. I want to give. What can I give you? Now you understand why you have to stand for your Rebbe more than your father? Your father gave you the body. He gave you the body, the food to eat, the artziyut. Your Rebbe teaches you your neshama. He brings you up. That's the difference. You think about that. And that's why a Kohen needs to remove himself from the Met. That's why we need to also remove ourselves from any need to only receive and not to give back. That's why a Jew, even if he's the poorest Jew in the world, has to give tzedakah. Why? Because if you don't give tzedakah, even Michai Minat tzedakah, he's a shnorim misken, he sits there like a homeless person, he also has to give a minimum amount of tzedakah. Why? So he could give himself a chance, a spark of life. If you sit here and just ask for tzedakah all day long and won't give anything, you'll die. Spiritually, you'll die. You'll be dead. You're emotionless. So when you give, you become a better person. You become a better person. And that's what the parasha of the Tahara of the Kohen comes to teach us. It comes to teach us that we should know how to guard ourselves and to keep ourselves pure at all time. And it's not because so we should feel good with ourselves. It's not like self-enrichment method, but in order to do nachat ruach, to make HaKadosh Baruch Hu content with our actions. And mainly in order to fix the society and the world that we live in. And look around you. Look around you in New York. How many hospitals today? They are the top hospitals. Were started by Jews. The Goys didn't allow Jewish doctors to come and practice. So the Jews said, okay, guess what? We're going to open our own. So what do we have today? We have Mount Sinai. We have Beth Israel. We have Long Island Jewish. We have Maimonides. These are all These are the top hospitals in New York. And this is the reason why. You fix yourself not for yourself. Not for people to say you fix yourself, because the world needs to be fixed. So when you're selfish, you're not only hurting yourself, you're not only hurting Am Yisrael, you're hurting the whole entire world. You are constricting the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu from spreading all over the world. And that's when Mashiach comes, where everybody's going to see the light. So therefore, Rabotai, be brave. Give yourself a set of values. Make this into an important value of your life. Give. Because when you give, you're not giving anything that is yours. You don't own anything in life. Everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Give, and you'll get more. You make yourself a best investment of your life. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, oh, that's a good pipe. The shefa, the abundance comes to this guy. He gives, I'll give him more. He gives, I'll give him more. That's why we say, I learn from everybody. However, mitalmidai, from my students the most. Why did you learn from your students the most? Because you have him as a teacher, him as a teacher, him as a teacher. What did I do from all of you? I only received. You were my teachers, I received. But when you are my students, when I'm giving to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives me more. That's why. It's very simple. So have a Shabbat, Shalom, and have a pure Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.